the people remember when Public Enemy No.1 got caught and went down in the streets of Bangor. It's October 12, 1937. Robber Al Brady and his accomplice Clarence Lee Schaefer Jr. are killed in an FBI ambush outside Dakin's sporting goods store in downtown Bangor. The Al Brady gang, the target of a year-long manhunt, prone to boasting about its members' exploits, had been convicted or implicated in several robberies and slayings in their native Indiana. They visited Dakin's twice before to buy guns and ammunition for use in committing more robberies. Arriving in a black Buick sedan with Ohio license plates, they also inquired about the availability of Tommy guns. When the store manager said he wasn't allowed to stock those, the robbers asked if he could get some anyway and said they would return later. Manager tipped off the police, triggering the FBI ambush. As you see in this video, through reenactments through the years, it is a moment that lives on still to this day. Until tomorrow, I'm Brian Sullivan.